Right, let's make this part 2, and there's only 2 parts to it, as an additional part to what was delivered the other week. Right? Now, given on what I've seen and heard, it's gone through. Right? People are now have taken it serious because of efforts being stepped up. Okay? 2 elements to it. Negotiations are stepped up, and something else has come through the system regarding court cases. Right, let's deal with that one little element first. First and foremost, right? Because this has been served on both the United Kingdom and European Union, it's not just one or the other, primarily the United Kingdom, but because of the nature of this exercise, it has a cascading effect. Right? As it states within the document, that no other cases, contextually speaking, can be started to run in parallel or to supersede this one. So any court cases relating to this whole Brexit scenario is null and void. It doesn't matter the level. No, seriously, it does not matter the level. The courts understand it, the government understands it, and all parties involved understand it. There are to be no more court cases. Reason for that is, especially when you're talking about extensions, let's say that they're unable to complete the negotiations. Believe me, fingers crossed that they do. I would like to think that they're able to do this with the necessary motivation in place. Yeah. But because I know a lot of people have an overwhelming concern and uncertainty and various fears, right, about it and getting it right and so on and so forth. The reason I said no to the court cases is because I've already worked out the path forward. Yeah? A part of that path forward, literally, and as par for course is if indeed they do not reach a resolve by the 31st of October, I've given them 5 days in order to give an answer. That one good answer, one good reason, should be along the lines of, yes, we've now agreed on something, yes, we're now initiating the rollout, for which there must be seen the 5th there or not afterwards. If it's not seen, then what happens is this process kicks in within its entirety. Par for course. The whole legal aspect, right, is irrelevant, right? Because as par for course, it will go into a natural extension anyway, right? That extension will be methodical, yeah? Taking everything that's been said, broken down into its component parts, and then dealt with as it arrives. Yeah, and like that. Methodical, and each part, one part is agreed, it gets put aside. Now, when talking parliamentary wise, yes, Parliament will be prorogued for the most part, but it will only be for a short period of time, whilst this whole process kicks off. When the actual process is beginning to roll, teams assembled and whatnot, and from the 5th, given ample enough time that an actual feedback comes that they're now ready to receive, in this case Shadow Crown, through the gates and work with me, I'm not asking for permission. That is just a formal way of saying, right, let's get this started. Right? Once all of that's gone through and we've reorganised everything internally, the team has been built and so on and so forth, with the foresight of bringing the World Trade Organization, or the WTO, into the foreground, not on board but into the foreground, then the houses will be addressed, or the whole system will be addressed in one house, for which then acknowledgement from the sovereign side of things is that this is going to happen. As this whole process is then beginning to roll out and is methodically happening, because of the nature of how this all works, and because of how all of this, the type of impact that this will actually have, right, other provisions will be put into place. I.e., for instance, it would be a form of shadow government, or a government body comprised of who I believe is best to form it. That then will then take care of everyday policies, methodically as well, going through everything. If an audit needs to happen, it'll be audited, the system will be audited, and so on and so forth, to find out exactly what's going on and why, or even how. That will then give the feedback in much quicker paces of time. We can then make sure that by the time this whole process has been agreed to, as in the Brexit part's been agreed to, we'll begin to understand the whole dynamics of what's going on within the policy infrastructure. From there, an agreement will have been made, and a transition period will then be initiated. Whilst that is transitioning, the policies then will be then recalibrated and rolled out, with all relevant members who has been decided, and I've already worked all that lot out. As a matter of fact, if you've been watching, you'll already have an idea as to how this is going to work. As that's rolling out, as in the Brexit and the transition period is rolling out, for not only for the betterment of the United Kingdom, but for the betterment of the European Union and its member states, the policies over in this country will then begin to roll out. Alright, fair enough, in itself is not an elected government. However, for your confidence, as a matter of fact, it will be an elected government, because it will be a composition of elected folks who, well, that's yet to be decided. Okay? The upshot of all of that is as that's rolling out, so will the new policies. And by the time we've finished, what you've actually got is this, what was a dependent United Kingdom, the rollout will then become an independent United Kingdom. That includes all of its constituent states: Wales, Ireland, Scotland and England. That'll include all of the actual, I don't know, that's off the top of my head, the biggest issue, devolution, powers and responsibilities of each governing state. Yeah? Things like that. Healthcare, benefits system, the command nessus, and so on and so forth. Once that then them two then emerge, then what will happen is, and it will happen because I will make sure it happens, is that once all parties that are involved are happy with the way things are working, whether it has other international bodies involved or not, to ensure that the transition is smooth, clean and clear, and that is an important part, it is clean and it's clear. Based on all the efforts that have been made, each party will then based on the understanding of what the future path looks like, even if it's just a jaded view. As long as we have a view, and that's what this is all about, is creating clarity, is creating direction, and balances, within the system and so on and so forth. So in other words, we're seeing progression and betterment. A general election will be clear and will be triggered off. That general election, for your benefit, is a way of saying to you, right, we've now sorted this lot out, right, it's all done, right, this is all being worked on, this is all the new stuff that's happening, the trade agreements, new trade agreements, whether it be from the Commonwealth or whether it be with the European Union or whether it be America or any other person, these are all in place now, right, here is your kingdom. Who's going to be best to lead it forward? Who do you think will be the best party to then take that new entity, this new entity, forward? Or not so much as new, but this revamped, reinvigorated entity forward. Yeah? How's that feeling at the moment? There's a sense of foresight within that, isn't there? And a sense of confidence within it, a sense of certainty. Yeah. There is nothing that we haven't been doing with the European Union, or as in the United Kingdom. There isn't anything that the United Kingdom has been doing over the past 40 years with the European Union that it cannot do on its own, for itself, for the betterment of its citizens. Yeah? It just has a whole new set of responsibilities, that's all. However, all of this is all being derived from images like this. Interesting, isn't it? This is why it is so adamant that it's so important. Should say I'm adamant. It is so important that it's done and it's done right, because it's the first time in a long time, if ever, I've ever seen a government being portrayed in such a way. A long-standing government, a world-known and reputed government. I'm not saying it's the best one in the world, I'm saying it's world-renowned, it's known. To fall into such a state of disarray. It's kind of disappointing, isn't it? Yeah? All these highly educated folks acting wholly unintelligently. Right, so there you go. Quick, short, sharp, to the point. Part 2. That is what to expect if they cannot make an agreement. Yeah? I'm not in this to take control or to limelight or power, just parachute in and seize the levers of control or power, as somebody once said before. Not about that. Not even remotely interested. Right? There is a problem. A lot of you, 800 heads and more, cannot seem to find a solution to it. So, one person will have to come along and do it. But I'm not going to do it for you. I will do it with you. Yeah? So by the time you've finished, what you'll actually see is basically a country led forward in a manner of speaking that would be deemed fitting for such a country. Principles can be drawn from it, examples and so on and so forth, which then can be applied elsewhere in the world who are looking to develop or evolve. Yeah. It is not a bad thing, to be fair, to be honest, to be open, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes these things do have to happen. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully a resolve will be found. But at least there is a contingency in place now, just in case it all falls apart in the last hours. Yeah? There you go. It's part 2, the final part, to what will happen if the need is be. So up until that point, no more court cases relating to this Brexit matter. Whatever, if this process does move forward, my word is final. And there it is. Doesn't matter. Ask any judiciary, and under these circumstances exactly what's to happen, and so on and so forth. My word is final. To add extra incentive to all of this, as in going into the dirty detail, anybody within the political or even the law realms, primarily political realms, actually goes against, tries to undermine, or otherwise tries to destabilise such a process, will have their diplomatic immunities removed, and they will be tried and prosecuted on whatever the grounds is necessary. In contempt or otherwise obstruction of a legitimate development process. Yeah? A legitimate legal process. Yeah? There you go. In a nutshell, that is it. Yeah? Everything else will be, all the rest of the detailing would be or will be rolled out if the need is be. Yeah? So fingers crossed they can sort it out by the time the 31st comes around. That is an agreement that both parties, i.e. the United Kingdom and the EU, can come to a form of an agreement, by which means from the 31st to the 5th they have 5 days in which to announce that, and as of the 5th will then roll that out in line with the democratic referendum vote of leave. No? Can't say any fairer than that, can you? Really? You've all been looking for ways to actually resolve it. This is your way. This breaks the deadlock. It does. Right? It stops people from choosing sides all of the time and just allows them to concentrate on the task at hand. Yeah? But at the same token, not forgetting what is important, which is the running of the country. Yeah? Yeah. There you go. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I will speak to you again soon.